Hey YouTubers, Radflikinc back with another video, and today I'm going to be counting down my top 10 favorite horror films for the 1990s. Truth be told, the 90s were not a great decade, definitely not a high point as far as the horror genre was concerned, and the 90s were actually probably arguably the worst decade as far as the horror genre, and it's mainly due to the fact of the lack of originality and good films that were coming out, and also the fact that the main franchises in horror such as Friday the 13th and Halloween and Nightmare on Elm Street were kind of on their way out, and their final films were never really that good to begin with. But there was enough in the 90s to make a small argument for it, and there was definitely enough good films that came out in the 90s for me to be able to compile a top 10 list. So before I get into it, like I always say, this is just stuff that I physically own in my collection. So if I did not include it, maybe I don't own it. But if I don't include something that you thought I really should have, go ahead and leave me a comment. Feel free to go ahead and leave a comment. We can debate, about my selections and all that. So the first one I'm going to get into real quick of the top 10 horror films in the 1990s. Again, these are in no particular order, but I guess I will count them down. This will be number 10. I talked about this in a recent video, so I'm not going to talk too much about it. But it is Army of Darkness. And, I talked about how last time, this one really works for me. I actually do prefer it over the Evil Dead original one and the sequel as well. I just found it a lot more fun. I enjoyed the setting very much. I love the cheesy one-liners and all that stuff. The comedy aspect that didn't really work in the original Evil Deads really worked for me in this one. I don't know. I just thought it kind of fit in, because there's a comedy element when you thrust a man back through time and drop him in a time period he's not really used to. The comedy comes between the difference between people of today and back then. So it kind of flows naturally. As to where in Evil Dead, I kind of felt like it was stepping on the horror and all that. But yeah, super fun film, and I love the ending. Like I say, it could have been a little bit longer, maybe 10 or so minutes, longer. But I definitely love Bruce Campbell in this. He was great, and just super fun film. So that's number 10. And the next one I have here is a movie that I saw in theaters and it really got to me. I was really young when this came out. That's another thing I love about the 90s. Like I said, it might not be one of the strongest genres. one of the strongest decades as far as horror films are concerned. But to me, they're very nostalgic because I'm only 26 years old. So in the 90s is when I grew up, and that's where I watched the majority of my horror. So a lot of these films are pretty nostalgic to me. As to where if you would be a little bit older, maybe the 80s films are, stuff like that. I love 80s and 70s films, and I definitely think there are superior decades, but they're not nostalgic to me because, I am much younger. So anyway, number 9 is the Blair Witch Project, and I know this is a hit or miss with most people. You either love it or you hate it. I particularly loved it. I thought it was a phenomenal film. Really brought back the found footage genre to a new generation. Kind of re-enlivened it. And, there was a big window between this and this came out in 98 or 99, and they really didn't start doing the found footage films up until recently, but this definitely blazed a trail to bring it back. It is definitely a forgotten subgenre of horror. Really effective when you know what you're doing, and I feel like the director of this really knew what he was doing, and I've seen multiple documentaries and behind the scenes as to the little tactics he did to make this film so powerful and believable, and the way they marketed it was genius. And in the end, there's no witch, there's no payoff, but I feel like it kind of works. I felt like they could have really ruined the movie at the end by revealing a witch if she looked stupid or cheesy or non-believable. Maybe they could have done a far shot though, or maybe like a quick shot and then ended it. Excuse me. But I thought the witch not being in it was really good. It still builds tension the whole movie and kind of has you on the edge of your seat. And in anticipation, wondering what's going to happen next, and you never know if they're going to show the witch the first time you watch it, so you're kind of always creeped out, and it's just, really, really strong, powerful film. Definitely a gem of the 90s. There wasn't many, but... And this is another one that I recently included in a recent video also, and it is Child's Play 2. I always say this is one of the best horror movie sequels. It's a pretty popular franchise. But really it's just due to the fact that, it just got better. They really improved upon things such as the Chucky character. I thought he was a lot cooler in this, and, he cursed, and he just seemed much more tougher. And I love the ending where they end up in the Good Guy Dolls factory and all that. The ending was really, really good. And, I just thought this was, sometimes I kind of feel like this was superior to the original. There was a lot of good things in the original, but definitely a strong, strong sequel. One of the best sequels. I included this in my top 10 horror movie sequels about 2 videos ago or so. And yeah, just super good 90s movie. The next one I got here is a perfect storm for me, because this has a lot of the people that I love made this. You know, you got Tarantino writing the screenplay, Robert Rodriguez behind the camera, working the camera and directing, and then you got K&B doing the effects. Those are just all my favorite people. K&B is my favorite special effects makeup organization or group, and Tarantino is one of my favorite filmmakers, and Robert Rodriguez is my favorite filmmaker of all time. Love the guy, he's so hands-on. So all of them together with a pretty good cast, Harvey Keitel and Julia Lewis, and pretty good supporting cast too. Thompson Be Nice makes a small appearance. Danny Trejo makes a small appearance, and then that black guy from those blaxploitation films. I can't remember his name right now, but you know, great setting. I do love the whole fact that they really spent the whole first movie developing the characters and really getting you invested in the characters in the movie before they threw them in the situation in the end in the titty twister. So you know, when the horror starts to happen to them, you really feel for them. And they actually talked about how they feel like a lot of horror films get it wrong because they bring the horror too quick, and then when people are dying, you're not really caring because you're not, you know, emotionally invested in these characters. So I just thought, you know, with the writing of Tarantino and the directing and the camera work of Rodriguez and K&B, you know, going crazy in the set. I love the set of the Titty Twister. I just thought this was definitely one of the best horror comedies of the 1990s. And yeah, just absolutely love this film. This is super nostalgic for me. One of the first, maybe the first Rodriguez film I saw, and really fell in love with his work after that. The next one is definitely something that, when you say the 90s horror films, people are definitely going to say this is one of the scariest ones, especially if you're my age and you saw it when you were really young for the first time. And it's Stephen King's, well, the adaptation of Stephen King's novel, It. Never did read the novel. Heard it wasn't that good, though. From all the Stephen King adaptations to film that I've seen, this is definitely, I gotta say, one of my favorites, one of the best, other than maybe Maximum Drive. I know a lot of people don't like that film either, but I absolutely love Maximum Drive. And also Thinner. Thinner is not one that I included in this list, but that's definitely a honorable mention there. But yeah, definitely Tim Curry just brought this character to life and brought such terror and horror to this character, the way he portrays Pennywise the Clown. And I really like the young cast. The old cast is okay, but I really like the first half when it's the kids. I love, you know, how they stick together and they all go through their own little sequence of dealing with Pennywise the Clown and him targeting their fears, because, you know, he could kind of see what they're afraid of. Young Seth Green is in this film, and it's just, you know, of course, definitely a cult classic. This basically did to clowns what Jaws did to Swimming in the Ocean. You know, just really turned people away from it. A lot of people have probably developed a fear of clowns that, you know, last all the way to this day because of this movie. You know, it doesn't get much more creepier than you know, these freaking clowns and the teeth that he wears in the film. A lot of memorable moments. I thought this movie was really good. I just wish they would do another release. I don't know why they only have this standard DVD release. I don't really understand why this hasn't hit Blu-ray yet. I think Shout Factory needs to get on that. The next one I got is another one I included in a recent video, and it's Tom Savini's near shot-for-shot remake of Night of the Living Dead. Even though it is you know, nearly a shot-for-shot remake, I really enjoyed it. I love Tom Savini, and to see him do something other than makeup and do a really good job at it, you know, really blew me away. The guy's you know, multifaceted, multi-talented, and you know, I heard that there's an uncut version of this. I heard the MPAA really you know, slaughtered them. The ratings board really hit him hard. I don't know if there is an uncut version out there, or if, you know, maybe it's going to come out in the future, but I would definitely love to see it without any of the cuts that were taken out of the film and all that. But yeah, definitely a great remake to the follow-up, a remake to the original George A. Romero classic. And I love the classic slow movie zombies. Those are the ones that I prefer. Next one I got here is arguably probably the best horror film in the 90s. You know, amazing screenwriting by Kevin Williamson, and amazing collaboration with Wes Craven in the director's chair, and it's Scream, of course. I'm talking of the first one. This is the 5-film set, but I'm talking about the first one. And yeah, like I said, just amazing original screenplay by Kevin Williamson, and collaborating with Wes Craven was great. Great young cast. The self-awareness of it, and the satirical comedy mixed in with, like, still true horror and slasher style camera work and all that just really made this such an impactful film. This is one of the first horror films I've ever seen. Absolutely love this film. This is another one that a lot of people kind of hate on because they feel like it's a teen boppy one. But you know what? This started that. All the other ones that came after, like I Know What You Did Last Summer and Valentine and Urban Legend, those ones copied this, and they can never be, not even one thousandth of what this film is. This film is so witty and so on point, and it's really fun to watch for the fans, especially horror fans, because they're calling out all the rules and calling out all the other films, and just phenomenal. I love Drew Barrymore in the opening, and the fact that it was her idea to die, because it kind of sets the tone for the rest of the film. And I love the creepy voice and the Ghostface character, and just everything about this film is just great. I would love to do a review about these films. I'll probably do that pretty soon. So if you guys want to see me review the Scream franchise 1 through 4, go ahead and let me know, because I would really like to talk about this more, but I can't make these videos too long. But definitely Scream, arguably the best horror film in the 1990s, at least the best slasher in the 1990s. The next one I got here is one that I recently watched a couple nights ago, which really inspired me to do the best 1990s horror film video that I'm doing right now. And it is Kevin Bacon and Tremors, and this is a super fun throwback homage to the old school 50s monster flicks with the oversized bugs and all that, dealing with radioactivity. Now this doesn't have to do anything with radioactivity. It's just about a group of people that are living in, I don't know, maybe they're in Arizona or New Mexico. I don't know if they ever say it. And they're in a small town, and there's this scientist that's taking seismic readings of the area, and gets these weird readings, and they end up discovering it's these unknown animals or aliens or something underneath the ground that can't really see, but they could feel your movement and all that. Super fun. Great weird kooky cast with Kevin Bacon and the other guy's name I can't remember, and then Reba McEntire's in it with her husband. Those are great characters. Really fun, and I really like the POV kind of Evil Dead style like shots where the Tremor is going around like that. Those are always really fun for me. So I definitely love this film. The next one I have here is just something I really wanted to include because I always loved the character of the Crypt Keeper when I was growing up, but I always kind of felt like his films kind of fell short for me. But definitely, I would say that the best Tales from the Crypt movie is Demon Knight. Now this is a 2-pack, but I'm not talking about Bordello of Blood. I'm talking about Demon Knight. I thought Billy Zane did a great performance, phenomenal performance. I really like the way the demons look. They kind of remind me of the vampires in From Dusk Till Dawn. I love the setting as far as the hotel goes, and I like the plot about the whole Jesus' blood with the cross and all that. I thought it was just really fun. Great practical effects, and yeah, I love the cast with Jada Pinkett Smith as well. And I thought the guy that played the guy trying to kill Billy Zane, I don't know his name either. I thought he did a really good job. And yeah, just really super fun. This is one that I watched when I was really young. Also during Halloween, they used to show it on TV relentlessly, like when I first got HBO. And I would watch this movie all the time, and I just had a really good time. Got a poster of it. Love this movie. I wonder if it has its own release on Blu-ray. I'm not too sure. Let me know if it does. And yeah, I haven't been counting these at all. I always do that. I always count the first 1 or 2, and then I forget to count the rest. Well, the last one I have on the top horror films of the 1990s is John Carpenter's Vampires. I really had to include this because I really love John Carpenter. He's one of my all-time favorite horror movie filmmakers, and I really wanted to include one of his films, but truth be told, he didn't really make too much in the 90s. At least not too much that really caught my eye, but I really did like his vampire film. I really think the guy has an eye for horror, and he's not just restricted by making slashers. We all know he makes great slashers, but it's really all about, he can make any type of horror film. The Thing was great, that's a monster flick, and he does really good with vampires here. Really takes it away from the usual like poetic and romantic fashion of these zombies, and makes this like a really American gritty film. Typical great cinematography, John Carpenter films. Great music, and also I really love James Woods in this film. I love his character. I usually can't tolerate him, and he's really fell off as of late. I heard he's like a drunk or something like that. Nobody really likes to work with him, but I thought he did really good in this. And I love Valak, the lead vampire. I love the story. It's pretty cool with the black cross, and I love the idea of the vampire sleeping under the desert sand instead of in coffins. And the motel massacre scene was really cool. That really blew my mind. Happens really early in the movie, and really, again, like Scream sets a tone as far as the gore in the movie. So yeah, really great 90s vampire film by John Carpenter. Who knew he could do vampire films? Anyway, guys, that's my top 10 horror films from the 1990s. So go ahead and, like I always say, leave comments, and we can start debates as to my selections and the reasons behind them. And yeah, so I'm going to do another video soon. Like I said, if you guys have any ideas, go ahead and leave me recommendations for videos I should do next. Hope you liked the video. If you do, thumbs it up. And until next time, see you.